good morning and a very warm welcome to round 2 of the 2022 for Network FIM JuniorGP World Championship. We're here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo for the first of 2 visits we'll have to this classic venue this year. And today, as always on race day in the Junior GP paddock, we've got a bumper schedule of racing coming your way for Grand Prix Racing's future stars. That was a quick look at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo then. A 4-kilometre tight, twisty and technical layout that boasts 4 left corners, 5 right corners, a 0.8-kilometre long straight. And today it hosts 5 races and it all starts with race 1 in the Junior GP class. After that we'll have Hawker's European Talent Cup take part in their race 1. Then we'll see the one and only Moto2 European Championship race at 1 PM local time before Junior GP race 2 and Hawker's European Talent Cup race 2 complete Sunday's billing later this afternoon. My name is Elliot York and joining me to talk through all the action in Valencia is my good friend and colleague Liam Hodgins. And as you can see, it's another glorious day here on the east coast of Spain, and if qualifying and Estoril are anything to go by, then the track action should be just as fantastic today. Shortly, we're going to see highlights, but Liam, a very good morning to you, mate. Today should be an absolute cracker. How are you?
I'm great, Elliot. Thank you very much. Yes, the sun is shining here in Valencia. The track temperature should be warm, and we've got so much racing action to get through today. 5 races, and, well, we cannot wait. It's going to be a cracker out there on track. It
really is, yeah. The Moto3 Riders Junior GP class, as it's now called. We've had a bit of a rebrand for the 25th year anniversary this year in 2022. But here's a look then back at Estoril. The Junior GP Riders only had 1 race over there in Portugal, and it was Jose Antonio Rueda who started from pole position. Harrison Voigt, the number 29, in 2nd place. Some early drama then on the opening lap in Estoril, but it was a fantastic race over in Portugal for round 1. Harrison Voigt led the way in the open exchanges. That's Rueda passing David Alonso up the inside, and as always in Moto3, it's a fantastic battle for the race win and the podium fights. There's the Aspar team looking on. Boazri then taking the lead down into turn 1, but didn't hold the lead for long, did he? There was plenty of riders in the fight for the lead. That's Alonso, Rueda, Adrian Cruzes, a little bit of a moment there for David Alonso, the reigning Red Bull Rookies Cup champion. But in the end, Rueda took the checkered flag in P1, but he exceeded track limits on the last lap. And as we know, that's an automatic 1-place demotion. So Tachikorn Boazri was the race winner in Estoril and therefore comes into this weekend in Valencia as the championship leader. 27-degree air temperature. It's only going to get warmer. It's just before 11 o'clock local time, 32 degrees track temperature. These conditions are about as good as they're going to get for the Moto3 riders here in Valencia, and for all the riders really, because as we saw yesterday, Liam, the longer it goes on throughout the day, the trickier the conditions come with it being a little bit slippery, getting a little bit warmer. Lap times are slower. So yeah, these conditions are pretty much about as good as they're going to get.
Yes, as we saw yesterday afternoon when we were standing out on the track and getting a little cooked with our British skin. Yes, we saw lots of riders. The lap times were about 1 second slower than they were in the morning. And, well, Jose Antonio Rueda, who we were keeping a special eye on because he will be starting from pole position later on today. And we were standing at turn 10 and he was just on it lap after lap after lap, not making a single mistake and just getting his sights set for race 2 later on today in the afternoon.
Yeah, he really did look good, didn't he? We went and watched qualifying, but here's him speaking after qualifying.
Y muy contento a ver cómo se da las 2 carreras de mañana, que una a las 11 y otra a las 2 con un poquito más calor. Sí, la segunda tanda he hecho 2 salidas y la segunda salida he ido a hacer ritmo de carrera a ver cómo estaba y nada, bien, me veo bien, a ver la carrera de mañana. Hará mucha calor, supongo que habrá más pilotos delante y eso, a ver cómo se da porque hay menos grip y a ver cómo se da la segunda carrera. E intentar coger los máximos puntos posibles, si se puede podium pues mejor.
Antonio Rueda then speaking there after qualifying on pole position for the 2nd time out of 2 in 2022. Like we said, he was second in Estoril despite crossing the line first, exceeding track limits on the last lap when leading the race. So slight disappointment at the end of the race there for Rueda, but he is really one to watch, the number 99 on the Team Estrella Galicia 00 bike. He was 8th last year in the Moto3 Junior World Championship, now known as the Junior GP World Championship. 2 podiums in Barcelona and Jerez, so he's already beaten that this year with 2nd place in Estoril. First in the Red Bull Rookies Cup as well, Liam. He's really had a great start to the season across all the categories that he's racing in, and he really is an exciting prospect, isn't he?
He is indeed. Well, he's really the person on form, the one they really have to beat to put themselves in title contention and to win the Junior GP for 2022. And as you said, yes, leading the Red Bull Rookies Cup, he's been on fantastic form all year long. And as we saw yesterday as well, on the pace from start to finish all day, and of course on Friday as well. Unfortunately, lost out on the win in Estoril, but as we said earlier, he was the one they had to beat to try and win that. So it could be anyone's game later on today.
It really is anyone's game. Yeah, we should mention that he's doing well in the Rookies Cup. He's actually top of the championship. He's doing very well indeed after 4 races, 2 wins, and he's had podiums in all 4 races. Of course, you might know Rueda from his brief time in the World Championship this year as well. He competed in the French GP, only 12 seconds off the win in that. So yeah, Rueda, like we say, really wants to watch. Luca Lanetta, we saw the number 58 second on the grid. He was 16th last year in the 2021 Junior World Championship, 13th in Estoril. So Luca Lanetta from 2nd place here today, the first of 2 races, really looking to kickstart his season. David Salvador on number 3 on the front row, outside of the front row. He is the highest placed returnee this year in 2022. The top 4 riders all moving up. He finished 5th in 2021. 2 podiums, including Valencia last year. So David Salvador, the number 38 rider, one to watch today. He has podium pedigree in this class at this racetrack.
He does indeed. He's one to watch, as you were saying, very quick around the circuit here yesterday and just progressively getting quicker as the day went on. And he was one of the quickest in yesterday's qualifying too, under the searing hot conditions. So that bodes very well for him later on.
Yeah, it really does. Watch out for David Salvador later on this afternoon, as we've mentioned. The conditions later on are going to be very hot and very tricky for these riders. It's going to be dry, judging by weather forecast. There's not really a cloud in sight, so no worries about rain, but it is going to be tricky conditions. We saw in 4th place David Alonso. I'm sure he's a name well known to a lot of motorcycle racing fans. He's the reigning Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, won 6 races in that class in 2021. He won the 2020 Hawkers European Talent Cup Championship with 5 wins. He was 7th overall in last year's Junior World Championship, and he is another rider who has podium pedigree in this class at this circuit. And there's only 0.164 seconds, a 10th and a half split in the top 4 on the grid. So as always in Moto3, in the Junior GP class, we've got a good race on today.
Oh yes, we do indeed. It's like there's so many riders that could potentially win. You could be starting 3rd or 4th row of the grid, but sometimes it doesn't matter because you could be in a freight train of riders, and as long as you're in that front group coming onto the last lap, you don't know what's going to happen, and as long as you're in the right place at the right time, you could get the win.
Absolutely. We see it all the time in the World Championship, don't we? Moto3 is about as unpredictable as it gets. Starting from the middle of the 2nd row is Sairifudin Azman, the Malaysian. Of course, we might remember him winning last year at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. He was 10th overall in 2021. He's another one that's had Moto3 experience in the World Championship this year. He was in Portimao and Jerez. Filippo Farioli, he starts 6th, the number 7, the Aspar Junior rider. He was 8th place in Estoril, so he's well placed to match that from the outside of row 2. He was 20th in the European Talent Cup in 2020. Only points last year for Farioli in 2021 was 11th in Jerez. So starting from the 6th, he is going to be aiming for better than that this time around, and if he can beat 8th place in Estoril, then well, it's a very good start to Farioli's campaign indeed.
And he was also fastest in morning warm-ups, so he definitely has some pace and up his sleeve later on today as well. So it's going to be anyone's game, and Filippo Farioli, he is just improving day by day, weekend by weekend.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We saw Facundo Lambas, the Uruguayan. He really is one to watch. He was 6th in Estoril from 10th from the grid, so he's 3 places better off than he was a couple of weeks ago. Made his debut in Valencia this time last year, sorry, not this time last year, at the end of last year, and he was 8th and 9th on his debut weekend. So that just shows the sort of pace the Uruguayan has, the number 94. Watch out for him. Now, here he is then, the championship leader after one race, P1, top of the championship. Tachkorn Brasserie, the Asia Talent Team rider, winning in Estoril. A great start to Brasserie's season. He finished a best of 12th last year and came 24th. It was a very quiet and a little bit disappointing season for Brasserie in 2021, but he's really come out of the blocks flying in 2022, hasn't he?
Well, it was a little bit unexpected, wasn't it? Because we didn't really expect anything from him at the start of the season. He qualified down the grid for Estoril. And, well, I say he qualified in the grid. I'm certainly wrong on that one. He qualified 3rd in Estoril, qualified down in 9th this weekend. But he is a man on form. He's been around the block a few times in the Junior GP World Championship. But this could be a season.
It really could. Couldn't have started any better, could it? He didn't cross the line first, of course, but if you exceed track limits, we all know the rules these days in the motorcycle racing, Grand Prix, and pretty much everywhere. Track limits, people don't like them, but rules are rules, and if you exceed track limits on the last lap, it's an automatic one-place demotion. We just saw there, 9th on the grid, Adrian Cruces, the rookie in the Cuna de Campeones team. He was the European Talent Cup runner-up last year. He won 1 race and he got 4 podiums, including a 2nd place right here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. He was 5th in Estoril on his debut, so look out for Adrian Cruces, the number 11, a really hot prospect from Spain. There's plenty of them, isn't there, coming from Spain. Well, we're going to have a look at the grid then before the race gets underway very soon. It's Rueda, Lunetta and Salvador on the front row. David Alonso, Asman and Farioli on row 2, with Lambas, Brasserie and Adrian Cruces on row 3.
And then on row number 4, we've got Rueda from Zurutuza, and Eddie O'Shea starts on the outside of row 4. Then in 13th spot, we have Morosi, and then Ton and Munoz in 15th spot. Almanda next up on row number 6, and then further down the grid we have Daniel Charil, one of the Junior Talent Team riders, with Volpe alongside him, and Colin Vire. Hamada is next up now. He had a crash in morning warm-up, but he looks like he has been able to take the start. Caro next up, and then further down the grid we have Collins, Alfano, Gurdon, and then Picares with Uriarte rounding out the grid on row number 11 and 32nd.
Yeah, a couple of housekeeping then. You saw Angel Picares and Marcos Uriarte at the back of the grid there. Now, Angel Picares actually qualified in 6th place. However, he was caught riding slowly along with Marcos Uriarte in 5 sectors in qualifying yesterday. So they've got a back of the grid start for race 1. So they're up against it this morning. But look out for Angel Picares coming through. He's got very good pace here in Valencia, and he'll start from 6th place later on this afternoon. The penalties only apply to the first race today. Uriarte will be starting 15th later on this afternoon. So, the warm-up lap, first race of the day. Look at that, couldn't get any better conditions. 30 degrees, it's already risen by 3 degrees since we've been on air. That's quite astonishing, really. We know really from yesterday that it was, yeah, we were out there about 2 p.m. and it was absolutely sweltering. Oh, we've got a problem here for Luca Lanetta, the number 58. He was meant to be starting from the middle of the first row. So what's happened here then for Luca Lanetta?
That's disastrous luck for Lunetta there. As you say, we've gone from the middle of the 2nd row, best qualifying of the season and in the Junior GP. So it could be a grid start, back of the grid start, or a pit lane start for the Italian.
Disaster then for the Italian, the AC Racing rider. Hopefully he does get to the start. Like you say, Liam, yeah, it looks like he's going to have to be from pit lane or the back of the grid. He's not even made it around the warm-up lap, so it's going to have to be pit lane. There's a reminder then of the championship standings. Brasserie leading the way from Rueda. That's all going to change here in Valencia. 2 races, 50 points, a maximum of 50 points up for grabs. Any early predictions, Liam? It's going to be an absolutely belting race, like we say on the grid. Top 4 split by 10th and a half in qualifying yesterday morning in pretty much the same conditions as we have now. So the riders used to these conditions, they're fast in these conditions, so this should be an absolute belting race.
Oh, it's going to be a cracker of a race, and when you just asked me for my predictions there, if I were to tell you, would have told you 2 minutes ago, I was actually going to go for Lunetta, but not anymore unless he produces a Joel Kelso-like ride from the back of the grid, when Joel Kelso done it from, well, last to first in race 1 here at the back end of 2021, but you never know. It could happen, but it's going to be a tall order. So since he's going to be at the back of the grid, I'm going to have to go for Rueda.
Rueda then is Liam's tip for the race, win the number 99 there. We've seen a number 99 win here in the past, haven't we? In the MotoGP World Championship, Rueda will be hoping he can do a Jorge Lorenzo and reciprocate that. Now then, yeah, Lunetta's not going to make the start, is he? Can't quite see him there. The pit lane exit, of course, is further up, so we'll keep an eye out for Lunetta. The green flag waves in the background. The red flag will move, and we will shortly be underway for race 1 of the day here in Valencia. The lights will turn red in the top left of your screen. Well, they were in the top left screen. They've gone out, and it's Rueda who gets away well from pole position. Salvador not getting quite the jump he'd have hoped for from the outside of row 1. It's the number 94 of Lambas getting a great start, and he's going to get the whole shot into turn 1. Teammate of Rueda started from row 3 in 7th place. A few riders running out there wide. No such troubles though, all clean and safe. Rueda looking at the inside into turn 2, but it's Lambas, a great start from the Uruguay, and he takes the whole shot and the lead early in the race.
Some pumping and boring going on further back through turn number 2 as the riders sort themselves out, but it's an Estrella Galicia 1-2 at the moment, so great start for the team, and we've got Asman in 4th spot as well coming through turn 4. So the riders get themselves well and truly in the mix. Have we got a change of lead coming up? Yes, we do. Rueda, my tip for the win, has now moved into 1st spot, but it's Moto3. It's a Junior GP, so breaking away could be very difficult.
It will be indeed, yeah. Classic turn 6 move then for Rueda early in the race. We're going to see plenty of that throughout the day. David Alonso making a good start. He is up into 3rd place. Asman is 4th. Rueda is 5th. Salvador not making the best of starts, but he's in the mix there in 6th place with championship leader Barazari in 7th place. There's David Alonso looking at the inside of Lambias at turn 11. A classy move there from the number 80. He's back up into 2nd place.
Into the back, unfortunately, not sure who that was, but slid off at turn number 10, but back on the bike. So hopefully they'll be back and challenging for some points if they can get themselves back into the group.
Absolutely, yeah. We've not seen Lunetta appear on our timing screens yet or see him at the back of your shot. So we'll keep an eye out for 2nd on the grid. But 1st lap completed then. That's the number 7 of Filippo Farioli running by the Aspar Junior Team rider at the final corner. But it's Rueda, the man who finished 2nd in Estoril, leads from David Alonso. Lambias making a great start. Salvador picking his way back up into 4th place underneath Asman at turn 1. Rueda is in 6th place across the line. Barazui 7th. Jabi Zurutuza, the rookie, in 8th. Morossi in 9th. And Adrian Cruzes not making the best of getaways either from 9th. He's in 10th place.
And a great start for Angel Picares coming from the back of the grid. He's already up to 14th spot, so well and truly in the points already at the end of lap number 1.
Yeah, that's a fantastic start.
Amazing ride, right?
We did mention before to keep an eye on Picares. He's got great pace here, and he's up about 15 places from where he started on the grid. So Picares, if he can latch onto the back, which it looks like he has done, there's obviously quite a lead group of riders. There's Eddie O'Shea, the number 31. Picares should be around there somewhere because he came across the line just behind Eddie O'Shea in 14th place. So yeah, keep an eye on Picares' progression, but it's still Rueda then leading on that too from Alonso. Salvador, good progress then after a sluggish start. The number 38, he's up into 3rd place ahead of Lambias, the number 94. He's got a few Uruguayan fans here. I went nipped out for a coffee just before we came on air, and there's a couple of Uruguayan fans. There's probably friends and family here to support him. But great to see the fans here this weekend. You can't see me in the grandstands, but they're just above us, above the pit boxes. Free entry for fans this weekend, so good to see them turning out.
Yeah, you certainly can't see them, but you can definitely hear them above our commentary box at the moment. But as we head round the final corner along the home straight to complete lap number 2. Now, it looks like there's a bit of a breakaway with the top 7 from Rueda all the way down to Tachikon Brouazri, their championship leader, and a bit of a gap further back to Jabi Zurutuza. So, yeah, as the top 7 make a little bit of a break, the lap times are coming down as they get up to speed. Loose themselves off a little bit as well, but we've got a change of lead, and that's David Alonso on the number 80 Aspar machine, taking over the lead from the 99 of Rueda.
Yeah, Alonso then using the slipstream to good effect and getting the lead down into turn one. We had a shot there in the Aspar garage. Saw Daniel Holgado in the background. Doesn't ride for the Aspar team anymore, but of course won this championship last year with the Aspar team, now riding in the Red Bull KTM IO ranks in the Moto3 World Championship. So a full house then in the Aspar garage. They're going to be cheering on, of course, David Alonso, as we mentioned, the reigning Red Bull Rookies champion and the 2020 ETC champion. So the number 80, David Alonso from Colombia, is one to watch. But he's going to have a job on his hands here to attempt to break away and win this race, because Rueda, Salvador, Lambias, Asman, Rueda are all there in the mix.
Yeah, he's going to have to watch out for some track limits warnings. He was just running on the green there on the exit of turn at number 6. Now you're allowed 3 of those before you get a warning, and if you do get 5 of them within the race, you will be given a long lap penalty. So that's probably one ticked off the box for Alonso at the moment.
I've just seen there, Picares is now up into 10th place. There he is, the number 18, just at the back of his shot. He is now leading the chase up to the top 8, who, yeah, like you say, Liam, have just broken away slightly. I think it's actually the top 7 to Boasmeri. Then there's Xabi Zurutuza and Adrien Cruces, and then it's Angel Picares, the number 18, actually. He's just got past Cruces and Zurutuza. So I think now Picares, it's showing as 10th, but will come across the line. Where is Angel Picares on our time screens? Yeah, he has got up to 8th, and that's not much of a gap to bridge. He's only, what, 0.7 seconds behind Tachiko Boasmeri, the championship leader. So this is sensational from the number 18, Angel Picares, who suffered the DNF in the only race back in Estoril after Harrison Voigt high side out in front of him. Bit of an unlucky crash for Picares, didn't really have anywhere to go, so he had to tuck the front.
Now we've got track limits warning for number 10. But Picares, as you were talking about, they're up to 8th, and the fastest lap of the race as well. He was 0.3 of a second quicker than David Salvador, who was, well, 3rd at the time and is still 3rd. But that's 0.4 of a second quicker than your race leader, David Alonso. So Picares is coming.
He absolutely is. He's coming, and I think he's arrived. Just latched onto the back of Boasmeri. There he is. In 8th place. So yeah, Angel Picares from the back of the grid, ladies and gentlemen. We mentioned Joel Kelso did it last year. Angel Picares might be doing the same thing here again in 2022. Let's not forget as well, he is a rookie in this class. He was in the European Talent Cup last year, finished 7th overall. So this is absolutely scintillating stuff from Picares. Now we're going to have a replay of the start. Rueda getting away well from pole position. Salvador didn't get a terrible start by any means, but slipped down the order a little bit. Lambias, the number 94, they're getting an excellent launch. He would take the whole shot. Close there between Asman and David Alonso as the riders piled into turn 1 here in Valencia. All safe and sound through turn 1. Good to see. The number 94, Lambias, there getting ahead of Rueda, but he slipped down to 4th now in the lead group. But it's going to change all the time, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. There's even changes as the riders come flying past our comms box here, and we've got a rider down. That's Eddie O'Shea. He crashed out of 12th spot. He was looking so good on the early stages of this race, but Eddie O'Shea, unfortunately for the British fans, has crashed out of race 1 here in Valencia.
Going to get a replay here, are we?
Oh, that was
yeah, a bit of a nasty high side coming out of turn 11. Good to see.
Rolled a little bit as well.
Yeah, good to see Eddie O'Shea walking up and okay for that. It's been a great season so far for Eddie O'Shea, actually. His best qualifying this weekend. He qualified in 13th, but moved up to 12th for race 1 after Picares' penalty. He's had a great start, finished 9th in Estoril, did Eddie O'Shea. He's doing well in the Red Bull Rookies, 13th over there, his best result of 9th. The good thing for Eddie O'Shea is that he gets another bite at the cherry later on this afternoon. The main thing is he is all okay. Now back to the front then, Angel Picares, a 1:40.532, fastest lap of the race. Just zoomed in there, Adrien Cruces. The lead group have just been bunched up now with Picares' pace. He's now up into 4th place, I think that is. So Angel Picares, we've banged on about him already this race. 14 laps to go, 13.5 laps to go, let's say. He's now ahead of Lambias and up into 4th place. The number 18 on your screen, Angel Picares.
I think it's safe to say that he's well and truly in the fight for victory now, but I think we need to cue the Jaws music, because the top 3 don't know what's coming here. Angel Picares is on them, and he smells blood with only 14 laps to go. 13 as to cross the line any second now. But I would say that, just flash up our screen, Angel Picares is...
No, it wasn't Angel Picares.
Yeah, I was starting to get a little bit confused there with Angel Picares popping up, but he did come across the line there. So thankfully, Angel Picares is still in the race, and he's now gone up to 3rd past David Salvador.
Yeah, that was Kanto Hamada, the number 7-2 crashing out there. He crashed in warm-up as well, so not the greatest of mornings for Kanto Hamada, the Japanese rider, in his debut season.
And Picares
in the
their fastest lap. Look at that, so that's 3 on the bounce as he moves up to second and past his teammate Rueda. He's on some form as Angel Picares now, and he's now taking the lead. Wow, he's not crashed, it's just flashed up the screen again. He's just taking the lead of the race, and following him through is Rueda into second.
So then, Angel Picares leads the way with 13 laps to go. After barely even 5 laps, he's come from the back of the grid to lead the race. Jose Antonio Rueda, his teammate, thinking, what the hell are you doing here, mate? You were started at the back of the grid. I wasn't expecting to see you anytime soon, but there he is. So Angel Picares then leads the way. The only thing I will be worried about, Liam, is he's probably used a lot more of his tyre than the race leaders coming from the back of the grid, obviously pushing really hard to get to the front. So that's something that we've got to look out for. Ignore the graphic on the right-hand side. Angel Picares hasn't crashed. I think there's just a technical glitch there. There's number 66 of Philip Ton crashes out. Thankfully walks away. Looked a little bit winded maybe. Maybe just a little bit disappointed with the crash. But yeah, Philip Ton on his feet. Thankfully okay, the German rider.
Yeah, now back at the front, we've got Rueda all over the back of Picares. So maybe a change of lead going into turn number 14, just set station for now. And as you said, Elliot, yes, the tyres, he's just running to the green a little bit coming out of the final corner. Now, he does have to watch out for that. But what does he do now? He's now taking the lead of the race. He's come from the back of the grid. He'll be thinking, well, can I break away? Do I have to set station? What's going to happen? Do I let some others lead? But as you said, he is on fire at the moment, and he is looking on form and will not be wanting to make any mistakes. But Rueda got so close to tagging him into turn number 2, and that might just allow David Alonso up the inside.
Yeah, Picares there running onto the green, so just got to watch out for that. Like you say, Liam, if you run onto the green 3 times, you get a track limits warning, and then you can only do it 2 more times after that before you're going to have to take a long lap penalty, which is around the outside at turns 10 and 11. But yeah, Picares, I don't think he's going to be able to stretch away. We don't really see it much with these Moto3 bikes, of course, in this championship and in the World Championship. It's very, very difficult with the slipstream. Yeah, not sure what happened there. Lambias and Cruces running wide. That's created a bit of a gap from the top 4 down to Salvador. David Alonso looking up the inside then into turn 8. A popular passing move here in Valencia, and nicely done from the Colombian. He now sits second behind Picares. But yeah, I don't think Picares is going to be able to pull away. If he proves me wrong, then absolutely fair play. That will go down as one of the all-time greatest rides here in the Junior GP paddock if Picares can pull away, especially, as we mentioned, he is a rookie.
It's incredible to think that this is only his 2nd Junior GP race. And with the rest of them making moves and messing each other up just a little bit, could give him that very important breakaway that he needs. And also with Lambias making a bit of a mistake through turn number 6. That has kind of broken the group up. So we've got 4 in front, and then we've got a group back to the chasing group in 5th spot, led by Adrian Cruces.
Just see the gap then between Salvador and Cruces is not going to be over a second by any means, but it's up to, yeah, just under half a second. So the riders have got to be careful as Angel Picares then loses 2 places in 1 corner. He's going to get a bite of the cherry down into turn 2 though. Wide sweep in line for Picares, but just hold station for now. So David Alonso is your new race leader from Rueda and Angel Picares. David Salvador there in 4th place. Yeah, I was just going to mention the riders just behind us scrapping away. They just need to be a little bit careful. Got to box a bit clever just to allow these riders to not stretch away, because they're not really battling each other too hard. It's clever play from the leaders so far. They're not giving each other a hard time. I think it's good for them to just get into a bit of a rhythm, follow each other. They've all got very similar pace. So there's no real point at this stage of the race with 10.5 laps to go to keep scrapping away with each other. But yeah, the lead group have bunched back together. I think we're down to 10th place Marcus Rueda, so a lead group of 10 here in the Junior GP Race 1.
It's a great group to have. 10 riders all scrapping out for the podium positions here at the Ricardo Tormo circuit in Valencia. And we've still got 10.5 laps to go. Do we have a move here from David Salvador up the nearly just trying to push his way past Angel Picares, but doesn't make it stick. So late apex from Picares, as you saw David Salvador flying up his inside. But yeah, we have a leading group of 10. At the back of that, we have Filippo Farioli, the Italian on the number 7 machine. He's also joined this group as well. So 1.6 seconds cover the top 11 in this leading group.
Who's behind Farioli then? Morossi and Marcos Uriarte there. So
So another great start by
riders.
Uriarte from the back of the grid as well to make it into 13th.
Yeah, I think Farioli's actually overtaken Lambias and Rueda. Yeah, he has. So just coming over line. So it is a lead group of 11 then with 10 laps to go. David Alonso still leading, and Picares back up into second place. This is really anyone's game. Tascorn Braswell there just keeping his powder dry at the minute, safe and sound in the middle of the group, the championship leader. He's in 6th place leading the junior talent team charge. This is turns 2. They fire it out into turn 3, the fast left-hand kick down into turn 4. This is going to be a passing manoeuvre for plenty of people today. 9.5 laps to go. David Salvador up the inside at turn 5. That isn't a popular passing place, but Salvador, the number 38, making it work there. As Angel Picares gets shoved down the order a little bit, getting a little bit beaten up on this lap is... no, it's not. It's Rueda. Sorry, it's Rueda that's getting a little bit beaten up. Picares still in second place.
There's so many Australia Galicia machines out there. It's hard to tell which one is which sometimes. But yeah, it seems to have unsettled Rueda just ever so slightly. He's been pushed back to 5th, but it was a very late move by Salvador there. He's been trying that in the last lap. But here comes Picares up the inside of David Alonso into turn number 10. That was a very sweet move, very smooth and silky as he retakes the lead of the race.
Yeah, classy move from Picares up into turn 11. Going to see plenty more of that in the Moto3 class. In all of the classes today, turn 11 really is a good passing manoeuvre. Late on the brakes, especially into the last lap, because unless you dive down here into turn 14, it's really one of the only final passing manoeuvres at the latter stage of the race. Now, Cruces are making good ground. He's now up into 3rd place. Picares is going to lead over the line. 9 laps to go from David Alonso. Yeah, Cruces up into 3rd place. He's also another rookie, so 2 rookies in the top 3 here in Valencia. Cruces and Picares, they were pretty much standouts, especially Cruces in the European Talent Cup last year, and they're doing excellently here early in the Junior GP paddock. Salvador then going up the inside at turn 2. Tascorn Braswell, as we said, Tascorn Braswell just keeping in the mix there. Rueda dropping down to behind Braswell in 6th place now.
Yeah, we saw this from Boazri in Estoril. He was part of that second group for a long time before eventually catching the leaders with a few laps to go. So he's sort of just bedding himself into the race, getting in the groove of things before he starts pushing forward. And Boazri is sitting in 6th at the moment, and he will have his sights set, if not a podium, the race win if possible, and that's what he'll be wanting to do to consolidate his championship.
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. Boazri kept it cool, calm and collected over in Estoril. I would say crossed the line second, but took profit from Rueda running onto the green. As talking of Rueda, shoves it up the inside of Adrian Cruces, says, "Thank you very much, mate, I'm coming through." That was an aggressive move then from Rueda, as Angel Picares just takes a tear off, loses a little bit of time, but not too much. Rueda then up the inside at turn 12 on David Salvador. So Rueda then isn't messing around on this lap. He sees David Alonso and his teammate Angel Picares top 2. He wants to get involved in this. He doesn't want to be hanging around in the middle of the pack, because you never know what can happen in motorcycle racing. It's close combat here in the Moto3 class. We see it in the World Championship level, don't we? If you're mired in the pack, it can be a little bit sketchy, but another lap completed then here in Valencia. 8 to go. David Alonso leading from Picares and Rueda after a great lap there with 9 laps to go.
You can just feel it getting a little bit more tense out there on the track. The moves are becoming a little bit more frantic. The riders are fanning themselves out across the track and towards turn number 2. Oh, wow. And up into 5th. That was David Almanza pushing his way past Adrian Cruces as well. So watch out for Almanza. He is 100% making the moves and coming through. But then, as I say that, Salvador makes his way back up the inside into 5th spot. And is he going for 4th? He's pushing past, and yes, he does. Pushes past Cruces into 4th spot as well. So David Salvador has his elbows out so far in this race.
Yeah, David Almanza started from row 6, so this is another great comeback ride from the number 22 on the purple machine there. David Almanza just behind David Salvador. Yeah, Picares then leading the way. It is getting a bit tense now, you're right. 7.5 laps to go. It's not really the time where you'd think it starts to get a little bit busier. If riders think they've got a bit more pace, then they are going to start to push. But I don't really foresee anyone being able to break away.
Wow,
I thought that was going to be 3 abreast there into turn 11. David Salvador moving up the inside of Rueda. I thought David Almanza was going to have a bite of the cherry as well, but not this time around. So Rueda, after a great lap last time out, has lost another couple of positions here as tensions rise there in the Laglis Academy Honda box. Just watching on there nervously, understand why.
You could cut the tension with a knife in that box at the moment. Our eyes are glued to the timing monitors and to the TV screen as well, just cheering on the rider out on track. Now, as we take off another lap, 7 laps to go, and it's still Angel Picares who leads the way ahead of David Alonso and David Salvador as well. But do we have a change for third? No, we don't. Almanza, he's really making his case for the podium known with some late braking moves. He's trying up the inside again. He's tried that a few times. He might have to be careful it doesn't track the back of someone, because these moves could be getting a little bit leery with only 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, I predict some, not drama, let's not say drama, but I predict some harsh moves coming at turn 2. Obviously, you fire it out of turn 1, the fast left-hander of turn 1, then a hard braking zone into turn 2. Plenty of overtaking moves here available in Valencia. We saw David Salvador.
Oh, there was a bit of contact there with Rueda and
5.
There was a bit of contact there with Rueda and Farioli into turn number 4, but both are still okay. They're both on track, but Rueda lost a ton of positions there.
Yeah, I think Farioli just held his helmet there, saying apologies for that. Didn't quite catch that, so well spotted, Liam. But yeah, Picares then leading from Salvador. He's been in and around the top 4, top 3, hasn't he? All races, David Salvador. As David Almanza dives up the inside of David Alonso to demote Alonso down into 4th place. There is the reigning junior world champion, junior GP world champion, Daniel Holgado. Obviously moved up to the Moto3 World Championship, along with 9 of the riders who were in this class last year. Daniel Holgado, Ortola, David Munoz, Joel Kelso, winner here last year. Scott Ogden, of course, Diogo Moreira, Mario Aggi. He's on to Van den Gorberg. He moved into the Moto2 class, of course, and then Josh Watley as well. So yeah, 9 riders in this class moving up as we get a track limits warning then for number 18, your race leader, Angel Picares. We mentioned, didn't we, Liam, that we saw him running onto the green a few times. That gets a little bit close there between
Round
Almanza.
the outside, Almanza. He had to run onto the green there, but that was do or die into turn number 1. He's still not giving this up. He's kept second, but he had to use the green to move into that second spot, so that could be costly or troublesome for the number 22. But yeah, Ellie, as you were saying, there's track limits warning coming up for your race leader, Angel Picares. Now, if he gets another 2 of them, that will be a penalty, and that will completely undo all the work that he's done coming from at the back of the grid.
Almanza then up the inside at turn 6. Great move from David Almanza. He now leads the race from the 6th row of the grid. So comeback kings 1 and 2. 22 of David Almanza and Angel Picares 1 and 2 with 5.5 laps to go. This is fantastic stuff. Is that Filippo Farioli?
Yes, indeed. That was a late move, taking 2 of them into that corner there. So late on the brakes by Farioli. He's come out to play now out of David Salvador, and that's Rueda also making moves up into 5th spot. Now, it's a little bit safe into this turn number 10. They're just taking it nice and easy on this lap. No dive bombs, but with 5.5 laps to go, that is definitely going to change.
Yeah, nice little turn 8, 2-for-1 deal there for the number 7, Filippo Farioli. So David Almanza then leading from Angel Picares. We didn't really expect this at the start of the race, did we? 6th row of the grid, back of the grid, 1 and 2 with 5 laps to go when they crossed the line. Well, they were 1 and 2. Now Filippo Farioli has moved up into 2nd place. We mentioned before that he finished 8th place in Estoril. He firmly has a podium set. Now then, 5 laps to go. This is the time where it's really going to start getting busy. It's already started getting busy, hasn't it, Liam? But a lead group of, 11 riders split by 1.3 seconds with 5 laps to go. This is Junior GP at its finest.
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant stuff at the moment. I was starting to think a couple of laps ago that Marcos Rueda in 11th spot was starting to fall off the back of the group, but he's now found his form and he's closed back up again. Only 1.3 seconds covering the top 11, and it's actually Yambias on the number 94 who was leading this race, remember, at the start, who's now slipped to the back. Hold on! Oh! We've got Farioli down! And he's taken down also Almanza. That's disastrous for the top 2. That corner can just catch you out without any warning whatsoever, and the team with the head in their hands. But thankfully both riders are up and they're okay.
Yeah, main thing is they're both up on their feet. Hopefully no injuries for either of them. But yeah, turn 4, we see plenty of drama there, don't we? Across motorcycle racing classes, it's a tricky corner to get right. And yeah, Filippo Farioli just high-siding out there, and David Almanza crashing out as well. Fingers crossed, both of those riders okay. They just got to the front, didn't they? Filippo Farioli try and lead the race. We're going to get a replay then. Here he is, Filippo Farioli leading. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah,
you see the back end stepping out as he goes off camera there. And unfortunately, David Almanza had nowhere to go as the stricken Italian fell right in front of him.
Yeah, we've seen that before, haven't we? Just getting a little bit too eager on the gas coming out of turn 4, high side and out, and yeah, David Almanza, unfortunately, nowhere to go. Felipe Faroleo, absolutely gutted. The good thing is, yeah, I think he's just telling the marshal he's okay.
Leave him alone, I'm okay.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
I need a moment to cool off.
Yeah, understandable. Fingers crossed they're both okay, but back at the front then, 4 laps to go. Angel Picares leads the way from David Salvador. David Alonso is in 3rd. Jose Antonio Rueda is in 4th. The championship leader coming into this race, Boazri, is 5th. Cruces is 6th. Lambias is in 8th. Asman is 7th. And Rueda is in 9th. And that is your lead group of 9 after Farioli and Almanza crashed out just here at turn 4. So hopefully we don't get any more drama down there, or anywhere, in fact, in the closing 4 laps. But Picares then leading the way.
This is super impressive stuff from Picares. He's not making any mistakes. Ever since he got to the front, he's just been taking it nice and easy, nice and smooth. Whenever someone's come past him, he's not been panicking. He's just been biding his time. And as we saw, the top 2 from a lap ago went down, and he is back at the front. And he looks very comfortable there.
He does indeed, yeah. No sign at the minute of tyre wear really coming into play. So as we just get a notification of long lap penalty for number 3, that's Pascal Alfano. So a long lap penalty for Alfano. Can't quite see where he is on the timing screen. He's in 20 seconds. So a long lap penalty there for number 3. David Alonso then making his way up the inside of David Salvador up into 2nd place. There's going to be 3 laps to go when they cross the line. Angel Picares leading from Alonso and Salvador. There's Boazri just taking a little bit of a wider line, trying to get a better run onto the straight. Slipstream City down the 0.1 kilometre long front straight here in Valencia. It really comes into play in these lightweight classes, especially in Moto 3. There's the team of Scholle Glitvier team giving their riders the pit boards as we go about 4 into Brest there for 2nd place. Rueda then coming up the inside of David Salvador. Boazri moving up into 4th place. David Alonso there was the big loser from that gaggle of riders. He went from 2nd all the way down to 5th. So David Alonso then has work to do in the final 3 laps, but Picares sitting pretty at the front.
He really is indeed, but we've got Rueda making moves, and that looks like a move for a second into turn number 3. Oh, what a move there, up the inside of David Salvador. I think David Salvador might have made
the favour.
Yeah, he does. Oh, wow, so there's absolutely no holding back from Salvador or Rueda. Now, Salvador's actually been very good into the double right-hander, turns 4 and 5 the last few laps, making moves every time he can, so that's definitely something he's going to be lining up in the last lap. But I just want to turn your attention to Marcos Rueda. I mentioned him a couple of laps ago. He's now in 8th spot, and he's now starting to get himself in the mix. So for someone that looked like they were tailing off the back a number of laps ago, he's back in the group, he's back in the mix, and it looked like he was trying to make another move up the inside of Adrian Cruces, but as it stays the same for the time being.
Thought Rueda there was going to have a little bit of a dive bomb down into turn 11, but not this time around. Yeah, David Salvador, you're right, Liam, he does look strong into that little complex of turn 4 and 5. We saw him pass at turn 5 a few laps ago. He is one of the most experienced riders in this class now. He's had a few races in the Moto 3 World Championship, finishing best of 19th in the ref. Gave a good account of himself on the World Championship stage, and all he can do now is try and win races in the Junior GP class to further his name. Here we go then. 2 laps to go. Angel Picares still leading the way, looking comfortable, but he's got David Salvador, teammate Jose Rueda right behind him. Tatuong Boazri, the number 33. Look out for Boazri. He's making moves now. He's up into 2nd place, is Boazri. So late race pace here from Tatuong Boazri, the tyre rider. But it's going to be, is he going to be into 2nd? I think David Salvador might be having a lunge there. No, not quite. Oh, yes, he is. Wow. A little bit of a late on the brakes there for David Salvador. But all this scrapping is just letting Picares.
Wow, that was a huge moment there for Asman. Out of the seat, out of turn number 2, but managed to stay on the bike. That's a bit of a gap now to Asman in 7th spot. But we have a group of 7 now with a lap and a half remaining. Picares looks over his shoulder, sees Salvador right behind him, and Boazri in 3rd. Now, Boazri done this in Estoril, wait until the last few laps to start making his moves, and Rueda, well, ever the crafty so-and-so, was sitting back, and until the last lap, managed to break his way to the front, but as we know, he didn't win the race because of a track limits warning on the final lap, so he'll be hoping to do much of the same, but without the warning.
It's getting busy now, isn't it? Boazri up the inside of Salvador into turn 8, but Salvador's going to return the favour down into turn 11. That was a bit aggressive, but harsh and fair from the number 38, David Salvador. Picares taking another tear off the three at the back there have just lost touch on this lead group. So with just over a lap to go, Angel Picares leads David Salvador and Rueda with Boazri there in 4th place. David Alonso is in the mix, and so is Adrian Cruces, who has a little bit of a mistake there down at the final corner at 14. But last lap time then here in race 1 Junior GP here in Valencia. It's Picares leading from David Salvador over the line. Then comes Rueda, then it's Boazri, then it's, that's getting a little bit close there. It's David Alonso into 4th place. Picares holds it into turn 1. David Alonso now up into 3rd place. Now so the final podium position.
Now watch out for turn at number 2. Salvador is going to leave it late on the brakes, bisects back. Can Alonso do anything about it? Picares even later on the brakes, loses the rear end ever so slightly going into turn number 2. Only 3 kilometers left of this 4-kilometer circuit. He's got a bit of a gap as Picares over Salvador, so that doesn't give Salvador any opportunity into turn number 5, where it's been so strong so far in this race. And Rueda, who was my tip for the win, is still in 4th, so he's got some work to do to try and get himself into the podium. But up the inside into turn number 6 we have, that is Alonso. Yes, he's up into 2nd, so he's put himself in prime position to attack Picares.
Turn 8 coming up then, down into the back of the circuit, but it's still Picares leading the way. David Alonso making his way up into 2nd place. David Salvador demoted down to 3rd place. There's Rueda, the number 9 in 4th place. It looks like it's between those 4 riders for victory. Boazri just losing touch there in 5th place. Picares then still leads the way. There's only a couple of passing manoeuvres. Turn 12 coming up. Is someone going to dive up the inside? Not quite close enough, I think. Rueda there up into 3rd place on David Salvador. It's all going to come down to the last corner. Picares leading from David Alonso. David Alonso's close. He's going to get tucked up in the 60, and there's the Aspar team looking on nervously. We pan back. Last corner time. David Alonso up the inside. Salvador up the inside into 3rd place. Is it going to be David Alonso then? Picares is going to tuck into the slipstream of David Alonso, but it looks like David Alonso is just going to have enough. Is he? Yes! Just.
Wow.
What is that margin? A tenth? No, 3 thousandths. 0.03 seconds, sorry, I'll get it out eventually. David Alonso, race 1 winner here in Junior GP by the slimmest of margins from Angel Picares. A fantastic recovery ride, and David Salvador gets 3rd place. Liam, what a race.
Wow, that was incredible, that, wasn't it? Well, unfortunately, the Estrella Galicia boys both lost out in the final corner, with Alonso timing has moved to absolute pinpoint perfection. And David Salvador, well, he wasn't going to settle for 4th. He made sure that he got 3rd and done the same as Alonso did on Picares to Jose Antonio Rueda. Tachikon Boazri finished in 5th, and all of that shock, and Cruces taking 6th ahead of Asman, Rueda, and then rounding out the top 9 in that top group was Facundo Yambias with Marcos Uriati, who also came from the back of the grid, finishing in 10th. Yeah, that was a great ride from David Alonso there. So as he celebrates, and also Angel Picares, David Salvador, your podium positions.
What a race then here in the Junior GP World Championship. If that doesn't set the scene for race day, I don't know what does, because that's about as good as it gets. David Alonso then winning race 1. Angel Picares, what a ride from Angel Picares. A rookie starting from the back of the grid, leading the way after 5 or 6 laps, and then just sitting comfortably at the front, looking comfortable. Cool, calm and collected. Didn't quite manage to get the victory he would have been looking for, but you can't turn your nose up at 2nd place from the back of the grid. Angel Picares, a job well done. There's David Salvador, proudly sporting the Spanish flag. 3rd place for David Salvador. That backs up his 3rd place from Estoril. So 2 podiums from 2 for David Salvador. He continues to go very well indeed in the Junior GP paddock, but the number 80, David Alonso, we see it so much here in Valencia, don't we? The final corner, turn 14, you get the bike stood up out of turn 12 right-hander, and then you're pretty much full gas on these Moto3 bikes round the famous turn 13. Get it lined up, late on the brakes into turn 14. Get it stopped like David Alonso did. And then all you got to hope for is you get a good run out of turn 14 to the finish line. Picares came close, 0.03 seconds in it up the line. Fine margins splitting the race wins here. How often do we see that in motorcycle racing? David Alonso celebrates with the Aspar team. I mentioned there's pretty much a full crowd in there. Nico Tirol, who's a great leader in that team alongside Jorge Martinez Aspar, works very well with the riders in the Aspar team. It's a great setup all the way from the Junior GP paddock. Of course, they have teams in the Hawkers European Talent Cup, all the way up to Moto3 World Championship and of course Moto2 as well. So a great pathway for the Aspar team riders to get up into the World Championship. 38, David Salvador, fantastic ride again, as we mentioned. And Angel Picares, what more can we say about Angel Picares? Colombia leads Spain, and Spain again on the podium. David Salvador, the heroes welcome into Parc Ferme. All these riders will have plenty of family and friends here watching them. And shortly we will of course hear from David Alonso. That is his first win in Junior GP as well, so congratulations to David Alonso. Finished second here at the final round in 2021, his rookie year on a Moto3 bike. Of course, the reigning Red Bull Rookies Cup champion, a European Talent Cup champion, so the Colombian David Alonso really is one to look out for. We're going to be seeing him in the World Championship on a full-time basis sooner rather than later, you have to imagine. Here is a replay then of the race winning overtake. Last lap, last corner, doesn't get much better than that, and it was as clean as you like. Flirted with track limits there, got just outside the curb, just inside the curb, sorry. About as close as you can get without touching onto the green. Pretty much picture perfect from David Alonso at the final corner. There's Nico Tirol celebrating the victory. David Alonso clearly happy as well. And best of all, we've got another race coming up this afternoon in a couple of hours' time for the Junior GP riders. So David Alonso, can he make it 2 wins from 2? His last 2 races in Valencia have been a second place and now, of course, a first place. So he goes well round here, doesn't he? And he'll be bouncing on confidence later on, will David Alonso. Tactical and Barazri finishing 5th place with Rueda in 4th place. We'll have a look at the championship standings a little bit later on in a few minutes' time after the podium ceremony. Adrian Cruzes finished 6th place, 1.1 seconds from the lead. Saruddin Azman in 7th with Marcos Rueda in 8th. Facundo Lambias, after that great start, finished in 9th place, 2.1 seconds from the victory. And yeah, as Liam rightly mentioned, Marcos Ariarte finishing 10th place from the back of the grid. He and Angel Picares served those grid penalties for riding slowly in 5 sectors in qualifying. The good news for them is they've served them now. They don't count to race 2. We're going to hear from race winner David Alonso. He's down in Parc Ferme with Liam.
Well, David Alonso, what a great last lap that was. You tempted to absolute perfection. Tell us how you did it.
Yeah, well, first of all, difficult race because I don't know what happened this weekend with the circuit, but we are riding a little bit slow. It's quite difficult, but well, also very hot. At the beginning of the race, I was doing a great job, but then on the middle, I struggle a bit. I go back, and it was difficult for overtake. But finally, I do 2 last laps very well, overtaking in good places. And finally, the victory is very important for me because it's the first one. Now I have less pressure. The team do a very good job. Aspar team, all my mechanics, incredible because with this new bike, we are doing a great job since 2021. We are improving race by race, and that's the important thing. Also, Nico Terol, also here my family came and my friends came to see me, and wow, it's incredible this weekend here in Valencia.
Very well done. And in Spanish as well?
Bueno, pues la verdad que ha sido una carrera muy difícil. No sé qué pasa ahora este finde con el circuito, pero aparte de la calor creo que hay algunos baches porque no estamos rodando muy rápido. Al principio de carrera sí que me he encontrado muy cómodo y estaba adelante, pero luego a la mitad de la carrera he perdido un poco la concentración. Hacía calor, tenía la boca seca y me he ido un poco para atrás, pero quizá demasiado. me he relajado y entonces, bueno, pues sí que lo veía difícil porque ahí pues ya estaba viendo más adelantamientos, pero finalmente las 2 últimas vueltas he podido hacer un buen trabajo adelantando en los sitios que toca sin perder tiempo y pues muy contento y muy importante para mí, es la primera victoria, me quito una presión de encima, la verdad que quería ganar y bueno, pues el equipo Aspar Team, todos los miembros han hecho un increíble trabajo con la moto nueva que estamos evolucionando desde 2021. La verdad que vamos dando pasos, cada carrera la entendemos mejor, cada vez nos gusta más la moto, aún hay que seguir aprendiendo tanto yo como la moto y bueno, también es increíble aquí en Cheste porque han venido toda mi familia, muchos amigos, la afición es increíble.
Congratulations.
Congratulations indeed to David Alonso. Speaks very well, doesn't he? Hard not to love the young Colombian. Now then, here's the replays from race 1. As we mentioned, Lambias got a great start from the outside of row 2. He grabbed the whole shot from teammate Rueda, but didn't hold on for long. A few riders there running wide. One of them was Daniel Munoz, as Rueda then looked up the inside at turn 2, but not quite that time around. As always, in the Moto3 classes, both in the Junior GP paddock and the World Championship stage, it all got a bit close, didn't it? Lead group quickly formed of around 10 riders, 11 riders, and the battle commenced. Rueda picking his way through the pack, but it was Angel Picares, the number 18, from the back of the grid, ladies and gentlemen, made his way up into the top position after just 5 laps. Incredible stuff from Angel Picares, and from there on, didn't really look phased. He led for most of the way to the checker flag, but ultimately got beaten. David Salvador, David Almanza, David Alonso, the eventual race winner, all battling away. That's David Almanza, the number 22. He also started from row 6, so a great comeback ride from the number 22. Filippo Farioli, the number 7 rider, also doing well there, taking a 2-for-1 down into turn 8. But unfortunately for Farioli and Almanza, their race would come to an end on the exit of turn 4. Farioli high-siding out, thankfully. The number 7 and the number 22 riders there just down into turn 2 is a little bit after this. Here we go then, the replays here. Unfortunately for Almanza, left with nowhere to go. Innocent party in the crash. Hopefully both of those riders are okay. Clearly frustrated, obviously, after a tricky end to a great race. And there it is then, the race winning overtake for David Alonso on Angel Picares down into turn 14. Just about held on to the race win here in Valencia. Angel Picares finishing second with David Salvador in 3rd place. But David Alonso is a race winner for the first time in Junior GP. The fantastic race 1 there here in Valencia. Here's the final results. David Alonso beating Angel Picares by slimmest of margins, isn't it? David Salvador 3rd, just beating Rueda to the podium. Barazri 5th, Adrian Cruzes 6th, Asman 7th, Marcos Rueda in 8th place. They're all in the hunt for victory at one stage. Facundo Lambias, he was 9th, 2.1 seconds away from victory. Marcos Oriarte from the back of the grid was 10th. Alessandro Morossi 11th. Zabri Turatuz 12th. Daniel Charil 13th, making his way up from the lower end of the top 20 on the grid with Colin Vire and Soma Gorbe, the first Northern Talent Cup champion, completing the points ahead of RB Aditama. Jacob Ralston, Noah Detweiler, Jakob Rosenthaler, Alex Gordon, Torin Collins, Kotaro Uchumi and Pascal Alfano completed the riders who finished the race, and there is David Almanza then crashed out. Innocent party at turn 4 with Filippo Farioli high-siding in front of him, unfortunately. But both of those riders were back up on their feet, so hopefully we're going to see them in race 2 later on today. Liam, David Alonso, how was he down there? He looked very happy, of course, his first race win in the Junior GP paddock, and he speaks so well, doesn't he? I interviewed him in Portimao when he was at the World Championship. He obviously was quite nervous about being interviewed for the first, not for the first time, but obviously in the Grand Prix paddock, but speaks so well for such a young lad, doesn't he?
He does indeed. I was super impressed with his English and just his recollection of what actually happened in the race, and he couldn't stop thanking everyone as well. So I think it's safe to say that he was pretty happy with that.
Absolutely, it was time to perfection, wasn't it? Doesn't get much better than winning your first race on the last lap at the last corner. So, team member from Aspar receives their trophy. They'll be hoping it's the first of a few today. And I think, judging from the walk and the back of his head, yep, that is Daniel Holgado, of course, the reigning Moto3 Junior World Champion, handing the third place trophy to David Salvador. Angel Picares, second place for the young Spaniard, and Daniel Holgado giving the race-winning trophy to former Aspar teammate and obviously good friend as well, David Alonso.
Yeah, the smiles all around on the podium as the top three receive their trophies. And, well, we'll get to hear the national anthem in a second. Before
the Colombian national anthem there for David Alonso. We'll be hearing that a few more times, I think, this year, and heading off into the future. The young Colombian making a real name for himself. The Red Bull Rookies Cup last year, of course, and in the Junior GP paddock. No bubbly, of course, for the riders on the podium, apart from, of course, David Salvador, who's old enough to spray it. But I don't think he'll be drinking too much, as they've got another race later today, Liam, and if that was anything to go by, then later this afternoon will be absolutely phenomenal. David Alonso mentioning in the interview that conditions are pretty tricky with the heat, and they're going to be even trickier later on this afternoon, aren't they?
they are indeed, as we saw yesterday and of course on Friday as well, that as soon as the track temperature does rise, the track does become a little bit more slippery and the lap times do decrease. So we saw yesterday that lap times of between 1 to 1.5 seconds slower in the afternoon, so it will be very tricky later on today.
Here is the updated championship standings then, and it's David Alonso leading the way after race 1 victory in Valencia by 2 points from Boazri, the Estoril winner. Rueda in third, 5 points adrift. David Salvador, 2 podiums from 2 in 2022. He is in 4th place with Cruces in 5th. Picares moving up to 6th with his, after his DNF in Estoril, a fantastic P2 from Rueda. Daniel Munoz in 10th, Marcos Rueda 11th. Farioli, after crashing out, will be hoping for better in race 2, as would Eddie O'Shea. He also crashed out of race 1. Daniel Sharil and Marcus Ariarte, after a good ride to 10th from the back of the grid, complete the top 15 in the championship. And we didn't see much of Luca Naletta. That's because he was meant to start in the middle of the second row, but unfortunately encountered a problem before lights out. But there he is, the number 80. David Alonso, race 1 winner here in Valencia. What will happen in race 2 a little bit later on? Next up is the Hawkers European Talent Cup race 1. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Valencia at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, a famous venue, isn't it, in the World Grand Prix paddock and the Junior GP paddock as well. Been on the calendar since 1999 and it really is a staple here in the Junior GP paddock. 4 kilometres in length, 14 turns, 9 left, 5 right, plenty of action all the way around this course, plenty of overtaking opportunities, especially in the lower class. We've just seen in the Moto 3 class, the Junior GP class. Won't say any spoilers in case you've missed it and want to watch back, but it was a fantastic race. And next up is the Hawkers European Talent Cup opening race from Valencia, where Joel Esteban leads from the front row. There you can see, I think that was taken yesterday, but conditions are pretty much the exact same here on Sunday. Fantastic weather here in Valencia. Must be above 30 degrees now, Liam. Not really a cloud in sight. Nice temperatures for these riders, but if it gets a little bit too hot later on this afternoon, it's not going to be that. There you can see the Grazie Valley mural that was painted, of course, here at the end of last year when the Doctor completed his last stance. And here, the riders of the future will be hoping they can have somewhat of a repeat of the Doctor's career. If they get anywhere close to that, then they'll be doing very well indeed. But it was Joel Esteban who led from pole position, the number 78 rider, and it was utter domination for Joel Esteban. That was contact between Brian Ariarte and Alberto Ferrandez. Thankfully, both of them walked away from that unscathed. But yeah, the number 78 there, Joel Esteban, won race 1, and his teammate Dodo Poggio run race 2 there. And that was Max Martinez, the reigning ETC champion. He didn't manage to even complete a single lap in Estoril. 2 races for the Hawkers European Talent Cup guys, and 2 high sides for Max Martinez. Thankfully, he was A-OK. No injuries reported for Max Martinez, but 0 points for the reigning champion. But Joel Esteban, no such worries for him. 2 wins from 2. Utter domination from Joel Esteban. A fantastic and perfect way to start his season. Some viewers won't enjoy that picture too much, will they? A gigantic